Assalamu alaikum all. Welcome back to episode number 50 of Arabella's LCI. I hope you all are happy and doing well. In our previous episode, episode number 14, we have concluded the third component of the LCI, the existing solutions. It means today we are going to begin a new component, component number 4 of the LCI, the market landscape. You know, we are quite familiar with the norm of LCI. And the LCI norm is that each component of the lean canvas for invention demands an academic inventor and an entrepreneur to answer a few questions. And how they can answer these questions? Of course, they can seek assistance from the LCI checklist with the hands-on activities which they can really work upon through the templates that are already designed in the LCI. So we have been following this norm of LCI in all the previous components. We have been learning from different questions, we have been seeking assistance from the LCI checklist, and of course we have been using certain templates that are specifically designed for conducting the hands-on activities. Now following this norm, of course, the fourth component of LCI would demand the academic inventors and the entrepreneurs to do the same. It means we have to start with a question which will be considered as a major question of the fourth component of LCI, which will be given an assistance from LCI checklist number 4 and template number 9 and template number 10 we will be using for the hands-on activities. So as far as this episode is concerned, we will learn what is the major question of the fourth component of LCI and what are the items in the LCI checklist number 4. As far as templates are concerned, we will be learning it in our next episodes. So before we learn what is the major question of the fourth component of LCI, let us first understand what this whole component talks about. Well, in fact, as its name indicates, the market landscape help academic inventors and entrepreneurs to understand the existing solutions within the existing industry. Existing industry means that overall, different existing solutions which are there today, how as they are representing a complete industry, what is their current trends, and what could be the future trends in industry. Learning about the future trend is very important for an academic inventor or an entrepreneur before they invest their time and effort and grants on this upcoming technology. Well, unfortunately, if the proposed invention is not for a growing industry, there will be a less chance that an academic inventor or an entrepreneur will reach to funding, will reach to technologies, and will reach to successful products in the market. So it is very important that you should remain associated with a growing industry. So in order to understand this whole, the fourth component of the LCI will help us to develop a checklist with the help of activities so we can answer the major question of the fourth component of the LCI. Normally this is done by the technology transfer managers. And what do? They start creating the market mapping of any new product, where they see where the customer will accept this technology in future, but at the same time they will also look up to the competitor's profile. So having said this, let us learn what is the major question of the fourth component of LCI which demands some information from our academic inventors and entrepreneurs. The fourth question asks, why in presence of existing solutions, the proposed invention has potential to grow? Though this question is very important to answer, but before we answer this major question, there is one prior question that an academic inventor and entrepreneur must answer. The prior question is, which companies are currently addressing the problem and how? Now, in order to see how we can really answer these questions, of course, we will seek assistance from the LCI checklist number 4. But as we have been doing in previous episodes, before we can start using the checklist, we must understand what problem we want to talk about. So today, let us talk about the problem of water contamination and their solutions which are already available in the market in a form of water purifiers. So today we will be talking about different kinds of water purifiers that are already available in existing market, and then we try to see that how fourth component of the LCI can look to the story of water purifiers. Let us begin with LCI template number 4. Item number 1 of the LCI template number 4 asks, list of company names, websites, and contact details offering the existing solutions in market. As I mentioned already, that today we will talk about the existing solutions which are for water purifiers. So let us try to explore the industry. What kind of products are already available for water purification? We've explored on the web, we've explored the IBIS World database, and after exploring multiple databases, we found there's a large number of companies already providing their solutions in the market for water purifiers. We really want to go into a very quick place from where we can have consolidated information. There are certain websites, and on certain websites, the market analysis being proposed. Suppose if you visit the website of persistentmarketresearch.com, and there you just write down water purifier, you'll come up with a larger number of companies, names, their contact details, and associated information through which we can answer the first item of the LCI checklist number 4. So let us explore what this website informs us and what we can seek information. So from this website, along with other websites, we have reached to 3 different companies as an example which are already offering the water purifier technology. 3M is there, Unilever is there, Whirlpool is there. So suppose an example for 3M. Their website is www.3m.com and their contact details can be seen on your screen. Similarly, for Unilever, their website says it's www.unilever.com and their contact details are also available on your screen with a variety of different products which they are already launching in the market. Similarly, for Whirlpool Corporation, their website says it's www.whirlpoolcorp.com with their contact details and different kind of products already available on your screen. We have just taken 3 companies as an example, but of course, this can pool of the information may go on to the larger number of companies. Let us now learn what second item of the LCI checklist number 4 asks. So second item of the LCI checklist number 4 says number of end users and annual revenue of companies offering existing solutions in the market. Well, if we seek assistance from databases like BBC Research, this would give us a direct access to certain reports that are published by analysts talking about an industry as a whole and talking about different profiles of companies individually. So in order to understand that what second item of the LCI checklist 4 asks us, we can explore a larger number of business reports on which we can have access to the databases like IBIS World and BCC Research. There we can find a larger number of reports already available that have looked up to the entire industry profile. They can talk about, with respect to different companies, what is their overall revenue, what is the number of end users these companies have. But at the same time, if you can just directly go one by one to the different websites of these industries and companies, they could also offer their revenue and end user details. Suppose for 3M, their annual revenue in 2019 was $32,136 million. For Unilever, their annual revenue in 2019 was $60,057 million. And for Whirlpool, their annual revenue for 2019 was $20,419 million. Along with the revenue that we can extract from the websites of these companies, we also can have an information regarding their end users. But of course, we need to understand the end users. Who can be the end users of water purifier? Well, it could be a normal household, it could be residential, but it could be other industries too. They can be used in hospitals, they can be used in educational institutions and in other industries. So understanding what kind of end users are there, we need to explore this information in detail. Along with the information of end users, these reports can also propose us the individual market share of these different companies in the entire industry. For example, if you talk about Unilever's share in this entire market is 2.7% only, and other industries might have their different shares. Let us move on further to item number 3 of LCI checklist 4. Item number 3 of LCI checklist 4 asks evidences from news, reports, and articles showing chances of potential growth or decline of the industry hosting the existing solutions in the market. This information can be extracted from a CAGR value. CAGR value, in fact, is an acronym for compound annual growth rate. And compound annual growth rate is usually calculated for the industry in order to forecast the future health of that industry. As I mentioned already, that if invention is for not a growing industry, the chances of the acceptance of that new invention in the market would be very meager. So it is always wise to calculate the CAGR value before an academic inventor and entrepreneur is investing the time and efforts on a particular invention. This formula helps academic inventors and entrepreneurs to really forecast that suppose we are here in 2022, then what would be the health of a particular industry in 2030, or maybe in 2035, or maybe in 2050. Now here question is raised whether every academic inventor and entrepreneur has to calculate this formula by themselves. Answer is no, not at all. Well, this information is widely available on the Google. So what we can do, we just need to write down CAGR value for any specific industry for which we are developing the market landscape component. So suppose we can write CAGR for water purifier, and we'll get the information available. So what is information available for CAGR today is the value of the water purifier industry was $52.4 billion in 2020, but it has been forecasted that in 2025 the value or the CAGR value of the water purifier industry would be $90.1 billion. So if we calculate this forecast, we can observe that the CAGR shows 11.5% growth from 2020 to 2025. But of course, it depends what kind of technology in water purifier you are looking forward for. Well, suppose if it's for the RO plant, then CAGR value would be different. If it's for UV technology, of course it would be different. If it is for some nanotechnology, it will be different. So depending upon what kind of invention you are intending to do, you have to exactly find out the CAGR value of that particular industry. Moving on further, for the fourth item of the LCI checklist 4 is identification of potential end users who are ready to pay for the proposed invention. Well, how we can really reach to those end users and what kind of question we need to ask them, that we will discuss in more detail in template number 10 of the LCI. But it is very important that when we are going for market mapping, we need to understand whether a consumer do really need our technology or not. So it's more of like engaging with the stakeholders at the earlier level. You must be remembering that we have already done it in component number 1 of the LCI when we went through certain interview sessions. Now at this level, again we have to conduct few interviews, and what are the questions we'll be discussing there? We will see it in any other episode. Moving on further to item number 5 of the LCI checklist 4, identification of similar inventions in the R&D pipeline found during conferences and meetings with stakeholders. Well, of course you can understand, there's an academic inventor or entrepreneur, you are not the only one who is doing some research in a particular technology. There may be larger number of researchers are doing similar work. Larger number of end users, larger number of academic inventors in different universities are doing same work. Now, if you need to really understand what they are doing, you need to interact with them as well. So what is the appropriate place to interact with them? Of course, research journals can offer us a good information, a good literature, but it cannot give us exactly up to the mark what has been seen at the moment in R&D pipeline. Because literature published may be 1 year or 2 years old. But the best possible way to understand what is there in R&D pipeline is to visit conferences frequently. So an academic inventor and entrepreneur must interact with other academic inventors in the field during the conferences. Well, if you visit the website of Conference Index, it's a very concrete information available, and there you can even see that where around the globe different conferences related to your industry are being held. Suppose if you visit the Conference Index website for water purification, you will find some conferences scheduled in September 2022, maybe in Dubai and in Singapore, in October 22 in Rome, Italy, in January 23, Dubai, February 23, France, September 23, Singapore, December 23, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It's a very consolidated information that we can directly reach if we use these websites, for example, Conference Index. So rather than looking for different websites at different places, I propose that the academic inventor can quickly jump to these websites who offer us the consolidated information. Move on further to item number 6 of the checklist 4 that says justification of market acceptance of proposed invention and chances of its growth in presence of existing solution. Well, we have so far gathered so much of information. It means I think an academic inventor and entrepreneur is in good position to justify the invention that they are proposing will be accepted in the market. Finally, the last item for this checklist says payment mode for proposed invention paid by direct end users or by indirect end users via intermediate business or channels. Well, as you remember, I mentioned already that end users could be of different kind. Your technology could be for business to consumer, or your technology could be business to business. For example, for business to consumer, in water purification industry, a simple water bottle could be seen as a product. But for example, in the same industry, RO plant cannot be seen as a business to consumer, rather it's a business to business market. So varying from type of end users, the channel through which you can reach to the end user will be different. Sometimes it can be direct, maybe your product can be sold on a retail store, or it can be sold through the supermarkets. It could be sold physically or it could be sold online. So depending upon the end users and depending upon the technology that you are inventing, you also need to understand that whether your consumer would directly be paying for it or he or she will be paying indirectly. We will see all these items gradually in more detail with the help of other examples in future too. For this episode, we have learned the major question of LCI component number 4 and the 7 items in this LCI checklist number 4. In the next episode, we will be learning different templates that will support the LCI component number 4. So far so good. I wish you all the good luck and thank you very much for listening.